Hi there. This is Niki from NEWConnective, and you are watching Sessions on Life. Today, I have this really inspirational talk with Sarah Mead. And Sarah Mead, I got to know her as an intern at NEWConnective because she is studying at VU University to become a spiritual caretaker herself. And as she was working over at NEWConnective, I was really inspired by the way Sarah kind of shaped her life and gave form to it with cute little rituals. So today we had a really nice conversation about that. And those rituals aren't just cute and fancy, but I got to know today that they have deep roots in ancient traditions like yoga and Ayurveda. So Sarah tells a lot about that. And also, at the end of the conversation, there's this really important shift to a more like deeper meaning of life, and not only like self-care practices, which are very important, especially in COVID times. But Sarah really knows to go a little bit deeper and also see the raw side of life, as death, the subject death, is a really big part of her academic work as well. So yeah, it was just all in all a really cool conversation, and I love to share with you. Hey Sarah, I'm so happy to see you, and I was so looking forward to our little talk about your worldview and your inspirations that I think we should just dive in, if that's okay for you.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Very, very happy to have you. I think my first question for you is that if you have to describe your worldview, then what would it be?
Yeah, it's still a hard one. It's really a patchwork, and I first I struggled with it quite for a bit, but I think it's also really beautiful that I can't really put my finger on it, and that it's just this big life art project. I don't want to dive into one religion or one philosophy, or because I can never really wrap my head around everything that goes with that. So, so I really noticed that I want to make my own, and I think that people will also be inspired by exactly that one. But I do really have, yoga is for me a very big one, and then not only the asana, so not only the movement like Instagram is showing us. It's really more than that. It's really the 8 limbs of yoga. So really seeing it as this tree with 8 branches, and it really for me is a good tool or a roadmap to live my life. So it's the philosophy, it's all these different ways to put meaning into your life. So it's also for example, the first of the limbs is the yamas, and that's a system of ethics actually. So it really gives us this tool to live our lives by. So it's about non-violence and things like that, really the things that other people would get from religion. And I can really see these as a thread through my life. But then at the same time, I also feel that I don't want to choose only one system, because then I also can really get inspired by Wicca, for example, the white magic tradition, a pagan tradition, which is then not coming from India. So I really don't want to choose only one thing. And I really see the cherry picking as an art form now, instead of it being something that limits me. Yeah.
And do you recognize stuff in Wicca and in yoga tradition that inspires you? Is there like same things going on, or is it totally different?
That's a good question. I think a similarity would be that everything is energy, that everything is has a frequency to it, and it's all one in the end. And what I find beautiful is the respect for nature, in that we of course are nature ourselves, but then working with herbs, for example, as medicine. So besides Western medicine, also having this holistic approach to keep your mind and body healthy and sane.
Mm-hmm.
And then yoga wise, that's more Ayurveda. That's like a system, 5,000-year-old sister science of yoga. And it really is about taking care of everything you take in, really seeing your body as a temple, and acknowledging that mind and body are connected. So what do you eat? What do you watch? What do you listen to? What people do you involve with? I think that's all really important to keep yourself healthy, and then really also the connection to to nature. So with Vika, it's really seeing it all as part of you, and using also the phases of the moon, for example, to maybe have a little overview of your life. So with a full moon, really the purging or the letting go, and really acknowledging like these things happened and I would like to let them go, and maybe making a little ritual about that. And then the new moon, setting intentions and molding your reality a bit more, and dreaming or making vision boards or collages of what you would like to do or make in life. So in that sense, it's connected. Yeah, I think so. For me, it is actually. Yeah.
It's really interesting. I've got two questions for you right now. The first one is that you said that it's keeping you healthy, so mind body is connected, and being conscious about what you take in visually and with all your senses, and also with the food you have. So you want to keep healthy. Is being healthy, is that a greater good for you?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because I really noticed that my thinking also becomes more clear when I take in the foods that are clear or healthy or non-processed and things like that. And I can really see, for example, after a heartbreak, when I would go into this more downward spiral of having pizza and wine and all the things, and maybe watching crap TV, that after that, I don't really feel nurtured or nourished, and it doesn't help then also processing all the emotions. And when I then really get myself to going into that upward spiral again by starting to practice my yoga practice again in the morning and doing my rituals and eating healthy and drinking the juices and going out for walks, then I notice that everything isn't so bad after all, that I can handle it better. So that's, I think, a very clear example of how I experience that works as a spiral. Yeah.
So many questions for you. I'm inspired already. You talked about earlier. You talked about vision boards and collages, and maybe I think it was setting intentions with a new moon, right?
Mm.
Would you say that you are, as a human being, are capable of sort of creating your own life or creating your own destiny? How do you see that?
I think it's an both and situation. I do feel that we come into planet Earth with a life's purpose, or a dharma, what you would call it in Hinduism, Buddhism. So there's this predestined part, I believe, like this kind of a resume or a karmic package that you take with you on Earth. I also like to call it Earth School, with the lessons you need to learn and the things you need to go through or you chose to go through. On the other hand, I also feel that free will is the greatest good that we have. That's also one of the main rules in Wicca, in the pagan tradition. Free will is always higher than the predestined part. So I
Wow.
feel that some aspects are set in stone-ish, and of course where you are born, the body that you have, like the white privilege that we might have and things like that. But then at the same time, you can also mold your life, I feel, by setting intentions to And I don't really see the setting intentions as this quick magic fix or something, but it's more for me also a way or a tool to get clear with myself, to have a clear vision and to know where I'm heading and what needs to be done to arrive at the next stop. Yeah.
And how do you start some sort of setting intention or mood board or something like that? How do you do that?
Well, for me, it really helps to get clear, and getting clear can be in many ways, but I love journaling, for example, and really then writing down everything that's going on in my head first, like this word vomit, putting it on paper as as a release. There's also this method, it's called morning pages, and then you would really just write everything down. And even when you think, oh, what do I need to buy for groceries today, or like really the random things, but also a dream or something you're worried about, you would put it all down. And then it can also really look ugly. It's not like a diary that you want to read it all back. It's just really as it has its purpose for releasing. And then after that I can really think again. And then or well, actually also it helps with the non-thinking, because then I would like to dive into a meditation, just sitting. I think meditation is quite a big word, so I like to just use the word sitting, because sometimes also a thought pops up through the clarity that happens, and sometimes that's a really good idea. So then I also don't force myself to stop thinking or to push that aside, and I would just write that down again as well. Yeah, so just setting this and setting a atmosphere. I really love making things sacred, so I would put on incense and candles, and yeah, really make a really nice space for myself and have a cup of tea, and then just start collecting, for example, for magazines, just start cutting, and yeah, just going also with what I come across. And yeah, I really go with what resonates. So what feels, I can really feel a yes then. It's more a bodily sensation that I can really see, like, hey, this, yeah, that's going to be on it. And really choose a theme. So I will be, when I finish these the studies that I'm doing, I want to start my own practice. Well, then it's really nice to have that as a theme, and then I would cut and just go through all the pages, and yeah, and then I would let it sit for a while, really, also for a couple days maybe even, and then look at it again, and then I would put it on a piece of paper and stick it all down.
So before you put it down, you have another, like you shift to the yeses and the maybes and the nos.
Yeah,
and you make it really clear what must be on that vision board.
And to see, I have one from a couple of years ago, and it's so nice to then just, but this is the present, how like it's really crazy actually that it can really do that. At the same time, I'm also quite rational with things, and I don't want to come across as someone that believes that you can make everything happen, because I also see that there's this other side of life, and that's just the curveballs that we receive, and the things that go a different way than we at first thought. So it's not yeah, it's just a nice tool and nice to play with, and it's more for the purpose of getting a clear vision than anything else. Yeah.
It sounds like you are doing these rituals really intuitively.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
true. Yeah.
that it's just you and your body and some kind of frequency maybe that you're on. Are there any other rituals that you do? You talked about your morning rituals earlier, and
Yeah.
are there any other things you do?
Yeah, there's one thing, and my friends really laugh at me because I'm always talking about this. It's like I get paid to bring this across, but it's a ritual from Ayurveda, so from the 5,000-year-old Indian philosophy, which is all about the art of living actually, and it includes everything. It's a very holistic approach, and it's Abhyanga self massage with warm oil, warm sesame oil. And yeah, this you do in the morning before showering. So that feels a bit counterintuitive, but you put it on before showering. You massage yourself towards your heart, and yeah, then you let it sink in. And I listen to a podcast, for example, or like something inspirational. I don't go through Instagram or anything. I really take that as a moment for myself. And then you shower, and it really sinks into all these layers of your body. And the word, the Sanskrit word for oil is sneha, and the same word also means love. So you see that oil and love is really the main, like the core of Ayurveda. Actually, you see it come across a lot, like oil yourself up, and especially in this season when it's a bit colder and you need to nourish yourself more, and you want to keep warm. So it really makes you feel warm. It makes you feel protected in a way. For me, it really feels like a protection cover towards the outside world, to keep my energy in, and it's really good for your skin, and it really feels super nourishing. And yeah, and I was also joking that you now have this skin hunger thing going on with not being able to touch each other, and you can really do something yourself if you're alone. You can really start with that, for example. And I really see it as a day to as a way to set my day. And if I don't have time for it, I always miss it. It's really something that I really notice the difference. Yeah. So I would really recommend everybody to try it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially in times like these, when you're alone, when you're cold, and especially the skin hunger. You hear a lot of people about it. You just need some touching and some connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was wondering, Sarah, how did you come to all these little rituals and to all these beliefs? Was there like something happening in your life that you went searching for, this kind of worldview, or is it just you? How does it happen?
Yeah, it actually just happened along the way, but really since a young age already. I started collecting like crystals and minerals when I was like 7 years old or something. So then I was already interested also in, oh, do they have meaning? And then I always went to this new age shop in Haarlem, where I'm from. And I always loved going there just to look at all the crystals, but also all the books and the Buddha statues and the incense and, well, everything you can imagine being in a new age shop. And I know that the day I turned 15, I went there to ask if I could come work there. And they hired me. So I worked there for like 3 years or so. And that was really being a kid in a candy store, because everything was there, like all the traditions, all the religions, yeah, all the spiritual lineages, and really people working there, owning the shop, that really knew a lot. So I could really browse through all the books and talk to all the people, and I think that really helped me crystallize more what I want in life, and that it was really this intrinsic motivation to search for meaning in everything. Yeah, so that triggered a lot. And then when I was 19 years old, so that's now 12 years ago, I started with yoga. I really just felt this call, or like, what is that? I'm curious. And then I started, and it has been with me for since. So practicing regularly in a studio, and then also coming to work in a yoga studio. So
As you do right now, right?
Yeah. That it's this sentence of nobody promised us a rose garden. This life, I really feel it's so full of contrast, and that's the way it's supposed to be, because it is. And we didn't touch on the more dark side of it, but I'm now working on my thesis around death and bringing it more into daily life, and to create death awareness and more an open way of coping with that we all will reach that moment one day. And the nobody promised us a rose garden principle is like, nobody said it would be easy. It's just also going through mourning and loss and hardship and trauma and all the things. And I think we shouldn't I really have a thing against spiritual bypassing, for example. I really want to also acknowledge that that's all there. And yeah, I can use rose oil and crystals and candles. It's all very nice. But then at the same time, we also have the reality of that yeah, we get these curveballs. And I think that's also where our work as spiritual caretakers come in, that we can also be there when shit hits the fan, when things get rough and real and raw. And it's also life. It's as much there as the beautiful and then the more rose colored things. So I think these two really, yeah, they belong together, and we need to just navigate them, yeah, as equals.
I think it's so precious that you conclude with this, because there are a lot of rituals we can do, and just exactly as you say, there are crystals and candles and there's oil, and we can nourish ourselves. But in the end, it's still, as you said, Earth School, and we have to navigate through it, and there are lessons to learn, and it won't be easy, and it will be lovely from time to time, and it will be heartbreaking a lot as well.
Yeah. And then we have all these tools to help us through it a bit better. Yeah. And people like us that want to be there when it gets rough. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah. And
you're welcome.
I'm really inspired, and it made me think about what rituals can I incorporate in my day-to-day life. So I'm going to sit with that, and I'm definitely going to do a vision board soon. So looking forward to that. Thank you so much, and speak soon.
Yeah, speak soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.